Hey guys, Kenny here. I'm part of HLAB, the Healthy Lifestyle Advisory Board. I'm also in my 50th year on this wonderful planet. I'm a natural competitive bodybuilder. I'm married with 3 wonderful children that we homeschool. So daddy needs to be fit and healthy to play with his young kids, 7, 5 and 3. That's their ages, so I've got to be pretty fit. Today I just want to talk about fat reduction, so I want you to think about reducing some body fat and what we need to do to go through that, and basically we know that we need to be in a caloric deficit, a slight calorie deficit. But where most people go wrong is they cut their calories too much. They cut foods out, this, that, they know this isn't good, cut. They don't replace anything, and they leave a big hole. The habits that they've developed, they've just tried to stop these habits, and as we know, habits are difficult to get going, good habits, and they're difficult to come out of bad habits, so how many of you out there, let me put this question, how many of you out there have looked at your watch today? How many of you have looked at your watch today, be it on your phone, be it on your wrist, maybe on the wall, maybe it's on your cooker, or how many of you have looked at the time? How many people have you checked a time, because you need to get to work, or maybe because you need to get the kids to school, or whatever it is, you're probably checking gauges, looking at times pretty much throughout the day. Now let me ask you one other question. How many of you know exactly how many calories you're eating and how many calories those are broken down into fats, proteins and carbs? Chances are not that many people. And this is where we kind of go wrong. We kind of take ourselves for granted to a certain degree. Now I'm not saying that you have to know absolutely everything that you put in your mouth, the calories, the fats contents, everything, the proteins and carbs, blah, 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 blah. But it does help if you keep a food diary. If you keep an honest food diary, the chances are you can see where your habits are as well. You can see what kind of habits you have, what good habits you've got and what bad habits you have. And you can also kind of see, this is where I need to work. When are you eating? How are you eating? Are you having breakfast? Are you having lunch? Are you having snacks? How much water are you drinking? Are you eating throughout the day? Are you in a slight calorie deficit, or are you in a massive calorie deficit and you're not getting any kind of weight loss as well? So there's so many different questions and so many different things to look about when you are analyzing fat reduction. But on the whole, if we look at fat reduction, for a normal kind of person, it doesn't matter really what kind of weight you're in. On the whole, you've got to be in a slight calorie deficit. Now that could be 250 calories, it could be 500 calories. I wouldn't suggest going much more than 500 calories. So if you are looking to lose 5-6 pounds a week, forget it. It is not going to happen. Sure, you might lose it in that first week. You know what? It might even spill over to the second week. But on the whole, losing 5 pounds a week, 6 pounds a week, unless you've got a massive amount of weight to lose, is not achievable. So what you want to do is ask yourself this. Are you looking for a diet, or are you looking for a lifestyle change? Because if you're looking for a lifestyle change, then look at it as a lifestyle commitment for life. So if you've, say, for instance, got 60 pounds to lose, maybe 27 kilos or whatever it is, let's just say, and you're thinking, well, it's a big amount of weight to lose, and I said to you, yeah, but would you be happy in a year's time, a year from now, that you could lose that weight this time next year that you've lost that 50-60 pound? Would you be happy? And if you answer yes, then all we need to do is look at losing a pound a week. A pound a week is kind of not a great deal, so we can kind of do that quite comfortably. And this is what we want to do. We want to make it as comfortable as possible. What we don't want to do is make it difficult, because when things are difficult, sooner or later we throw in the towel or we find a way how to get out of something. So look at what you like eating. Keep an honest food diary. Look at what you want to eat. Understand that the chances are that you're probably overeating at the moment, or you might be under-reporting. So you might not be understanding just the calories you're eating and the amount of calories. And when you look at food, maybe you're not understanding what's on the plate. What's in the dressing, what's in the oil, how many calories are here, what that food weighs, all these kind of bits and pieces. And hey, why should you know all that? But understand this. If you want to change, then it's a good idea to start understanding the food that we put in our mouths and the kind of calories we put in our mouths. Now, we know, I'd imagine there's probably not many people watching this would have difficulty with me saying, is chocolate, is donuts, is fizzy drinks, sweets, deep fried chicken, anything along those kind of lines, are they good for us? The chances are most people will say no, they're not. Likewise, if I said, is fish, is chicken, is turkey, is sweet potato, is pasta, is rice, blah 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 blah, fruit, all these kind of things. If I said if these are healthy, the chances are you said yes, they're healthy. So we kind of know what's good and what's not so good. So what we want to look at is what we're actually consuming and understand why we're consuming it, i.e. the habit forming. Now this could go on for a long time, so I don't want to speak that much, and maybe I'll do some more on habits and bits and pieces. But for this one on fat reduction, I would say keep an honest food diary for a week, for 2 weeks, and then at least you've got a starting point, because it's physically impossible for me to say to you, unless I get really lucky, you need to be on 1,750 calories or 1,800 calories or 2,000 calories. It's physically impossible because everything changes. Your activity levels are changing, your stress changing, your hormones are kind of changing from day to day. So it's really difficult for anybody to say to you, this is what you need to be on, unless you've actually filled in an honest food diary for a week, and we've got a baseline to work from. Once we have a baseline to work from, then we can say, right, this is where we're starting. So for example, let's say you're on 1,800 calories, and you're not losing weight for a week. Okay, well, you could say you need to go up a little bit depending on your activity levels. But if you're not that active, the chances are maybe it needs to come down a tiny bit. Maybe you need to be on 1,700 calories, and it's only 100 calories difference. That's about the size of a large apple. So it's not really a great deal. And you might find, hold on a minute, now the scales are tipping, Also, how much water you're drinking. Does the water change, from day to day? Are you drinking the same amount of fluids on a day-to-day basis? Because this can change as well. This can make a big difference to your fat reduction. So look at keeping an honest food diary for a week. Maybe 2 weeks if you possibly can. Everybody I get to work with, I say, look, fill in an honest food diary. I usually suggest something like my Fitness Pal, something like that. So therefore I can look at it, I can have a look at what's going on. And if it's honest, then I can make some suggestions. Usually, if someone keeps an really honest food diary, then we can make some good headway. So if you want that, if you need any help, reach out. Kenny Rye, you find me on Facebook. Like I say, I'm part of HLAB, Healthy Lifestyle Advisory Board. I'm more than happy to help anybody out there, So keep an honest food diary, first of all. And I would say roughly start between 1,800 and 2,000 calories, roughly, depending on the type of activity levels you're doing. And obviously depending on your age and bits and pieces, but it gives you a rough basic guideline. Don't go in too low, like 1,000 calories. you won't be able to sustain 1,000 calories, and you know, socially it really doesn't work. You can't really do a great deal on 1,000 calories. You know, chances are you need to be eating a lot more calories than that. You know, I use pretty much most of the products that I can get in Europe, you know, shake, cookies, neon, etc., etc. So if you can get your hands on all these great products, fantastic, use them, you know, because nutrition is key. What we feed our body is paramount, you know. I know that you've got the Vipack and Vitrim, absolutely awesome, you know, if you can use these, but remember to fill them in. You know, I know Vitrim, I think it's like 30 odd calories, you know, Neon, you're looking at 100 calories. Well, if you're having 2 Neons a day and a Vitrim, well, you're on nearly 250 calories. Well, if you need to be in a 250 calorie deficit, that could be the difference. So look at the other foods that you're taking and find yourself, okay, well, if I reduce this, and I can still have my Neon and I can still have my Vitrim, you know. But like I said, if you need any help whatsoever, please reach out. Have a wonderful week. Lovely talking with you. Speak soon.